Part 3. It's a track that's been out there. You know, I can't even say track, song, it's like a complete production. If you watch that on screen, as you'll see, it's done in maybe 2 or 3 takes, like very cleverly done in 2 or 3 takes. You wouldn't even notice that it looks like it's done in 1 take. But there is a making of it out there if you watch that. It is slightly broken up, but you know, because it is such a long video, you know, it's to be expected. It's very hard to like do something like that just in 1 take. So yeah, like the whole song is about, you know, in fact it's very reminiscent of lots of crime families who have gone on to become political figures, you know, like more so in America. You know, people like the Clintons, for example, the Clinton crime family, the Bush crime family, you know, it's reminiscent of this. I think maybe even the Kennedys, but you know, I don't really know too much the history of that, but I think there was some criminality going on there. You know, maybe somebody who's watching this video can explain more, tell me if I'm right or wrong. But yeah, Money Game Part 3, you know, it follows on from the first 2, which were along the similar lines, but yeah, this one's like more of a complete production. You know, you've got the acting going on and, you know, all the props and everything else. So one of the first things I did notice in this, I don't know if anybody else noticed this, and it is just my opinion, it is just my take on this, but if you notice when he's taking off the mask, so, you know, he comes off the piano and then he walks over to the mirror and he takes off the mask. Like, for me, is that like the birth of Jimmy? Does that signify the birth of Jimmy when he takes off the mask? Because that's kind of where the song starts. You know, it goes over, you know, it's quite clever, the song in itself, because it goes over age 1, age 2, blah, 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 all the way up. You know, and it explains different stages in his life. So, you know, I wrote a few of them down on there just so I can remember it. So like I said, takes off masks, like the birth of Jimmy. So his father, he saw him, you know, he saw him as being quite a smart guy, but he grew him towards a life of criminality, which I'm guessing, you know, his father was in that life himself as well. You know, so he always wanted his son to follow on in his footsteps. So, you know, it seems like he was a bit of a, you know, a child genius, and, you know, his father's like nurtured that along the way and probably planted a lot of seeds in his head. You know, so he gets to 18, his father says, you know, now you're on, man. You know, so now his father's, you know, he's like, you ready? You're gonna start the transition to the dark side, as it is. So I've still got his post-it notes, and I don't want to forget anything. So, but it's not until he gets to like 26, 27 that, you know, he starts trying to break into the global criminal world. You know, he's gained a lot of experience, probably made a lot of contacts along the way, and yeah, 26, 27, you know, he starts to break into that world. By the time he's 35, he's fully in that life. You know, his father's died. You know, he's obviously not taking it well. He's already been on the drugs and the alcohol and that, but you know, the death of his father pushes him over the edge, and that's when he goes balls deep into it. You know, he talks about filling warehouses with kilos and guns and blah blah and arms, etc. You know, and then at 39, I think it is, he goes to war with a cartel. You know, so at this point, also politically, like, you know, he's been making his way slowly to the top at this point. This is after his father says, while he was still alive, you're not even second place. You know, so that put something in his head. His father was just planting seeds like the whole way. Like Jimmy is living out, which happens with a lot of fathers and sons. You know, he's kind of pushed towards the life that his father wanted for himself. You know, and for Jimmy. So yeah, goes to war with the cartel. As we know, he ends up in a wheelchair. He's pretty knackered by this point. You know, he's 49, he's like mentally, you know, he's drinking more, he's more on the drugs. I think something was mentioned about chasing dragon, which for those who don't know, I think that means smoking heroin off tinfoil. So, you know, he's obviously like getting deeper into drugs. Mentally he's gone, so he only sees one way out of it all. It's when he picks up the gun and it's he decides he's gonna commit suicide. He's reached the top, but mentally he feels like he's hit rock bottom, which it's as they say, money doesn't bring happiness. Doesn't bring, power doesn't bring happiness. Just I think Notorious B.I.G. said, more money, more problems. And this is probably what Jimmy's felt at this point. His father's gone. He's gained everything that he wanted. What more is it to do? He's in a wheelchair, so he's knackered that way. And then, as he's in the wheelchair, you notice he says, cut the music. And that, for me, again, it's just my opinion, but that's the moment when, the party's ended. That's the end of it all. He's decided what he's gonna do. And then he goes into a little bit of spoken word for a moment, and he breaks down how, humans are educated that way from school, and they're programmed that way from school through, the way the education's taught. And this is a conversation I was having, unrelated, but this is a conversation I was having with somebody at work yesterday. How we're all programmed, and for example, you've got history at school. I live in England, we're taught one version of history. You might live in Germany, you're taught another version of history. You might live in America, you're taught another version of history. But so whose is the right history? It's like we're all being lied to. We're all programmed from education to think a certain way. We're programmed to hate. We're programmed to be divided, and a lot of that goes back to Money Game Part 1 as well. Money Game Part 2 is more about kind of business and how it kind of leads on to going to the top and getting power and then going past that line, blah blah. But yeah, number 1 does talk about a lot of things like borders and prejudice, etc. But anyway, I'm rambling on from that. So yeah, he's saying basically, humans are programmed that way. So what chance have humans got if that's how it is? So yeah, that's sits back down. That's when he pulls the trigger. That's the end of it. That's the end of the money game for him. But the cycle does continue. So once Jimmy's gone, that cycle will continue. There will be other Jimmys. As in history, it's always been that way, and it always will be that way, because with power comes greed and crime and everything else. People will crime their way to the top, and people will make alliances with people that they shouldn't be. But yeah, that's the Money Game Part 3. That's my interpretation of it. That's how I see it. Is there anything that you noticed about that I haven't noticed that you'd like to mention? If there is, put it in the comments to let me know. There's probably so much more that I've missed, but these are just some of the things that I've noticed me. The one in particular that made me think about doing this video was when he took off the mask, and I just thought, is that him? Is that him? I actually may have said earlier giving birth. Obviously Jimmy didn't give birth. I don't know what I said earlier. I have to go back and watch, but I've got a feeling I said Jimmy gave birth. Obviously Jimmy did not give birth. Jimmy was given to birth. He was born. That's what happened to Jimmy. He was born. So that's what made me think of it. So anyway, yeah, let me know in the comments. Ignore that little ramble there. Brain went a bit crazy for a minute. So yeah, thank you very much for watching the video. Drop me a comment, let me know what you're thinking about Reign of the Money Game Part 3. Do you want me to go and break down number 2 and number 1 as well? Maybe I should have started with them first. But yeah, just let me know. So thank you very much for watching. If you're not subscribed already, then please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment. All of this helps the videos get pushed out further, so more people get to see it. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you all later.